Okay, so this section's 1.3, setting a price. The first skill that they're offering is how how to calculate percentages. So the first skill that they're going to give you is the percent. Here's the definition of percent. It is a ratio with a denominator of 100. Okay, percent literally means out of 100. Per means divide. Cent, like 100 cents to make a dollar, 100 years to make a century. So the word percent literally means out of 100. So 65% means 65 out of 100, or stated as a fraction, 65 over 100. To get a decimal, you just perform this in your calculator, 65 divided by 100. The shortcut is to move the decimal twice. So 65% equals 0.65. The decimal is moved twice to the left. So the decimal's here to start with. Gets moved once, that's divided by 10, and there's twice divided by 100. Alright, so let's just use the shortcut. So 78, move the decimal twice, 0.78. 93, move the decimal twice, 0.93. Of course, the option is you can put this in your calculator, 78 divided by 100. This one would be 93 over 100. In the calculator, 93 divided by 100, and you'll get this decimal, you'll get this decimal. Okay, so when you think about percentages, you want to think about like maybe like filling up a cup with water, and 100% would be completely full. So for example, here's a cup of water. Let's say that's 100% full right there. Then you'd have various percentages, like half full. Whoops. Half full would be like 50% full. A quarter full would be like 25% full. Okay, so percentages, think about how much out of a whole, where the whole is 100. So the next one is over 100%. So when you put that in your calculator, you'll get 1.25, because there's more than one. There's more than one whole. Okay, and the decimal would slide like this: 1, 2, 1.25. This one would be 3.24. So this one's not even a full percent. So if you put this in your calculator, you'll get 0.005. Okay, the decimal moves 1, 2. So that's where the decimal would go, and you put 0.005 for your answer. Same with the next one. 2 decimal moves. 1, 2. You gotta put another 0 in there for a placeholder. So there's the decimal right there. So 0.0038. 0.012. This one's just 1. 1.00. Okay, so let's just make sure we understand this. So let's do this. 250%, 2.5. 25%, 0.25. 2.5%, 0.025. Okay. These are the percents. These are the decimals. Alright. The next skill is called percentage of. So how do you find the percentage of? This is crazy. Too much work. This is what we'll use, the alternative solution. Then I'll show it on the next page. Alright, so how to do percentage of. Alright, so percentage of, you have to do what we did on the last page. Make your percent a decimal. Of course, you just divide by 100 to do this. The word of means multiply, so we're going to times. And then you just put your total in. So 15% of 300. So 300 is the total. You need to take 15% as a decimal. So divide by 100, you get 0.15. Of means times. And 300 goes there. So 0.15 times 300 is 45. Alright, so what does this look like in the picture? Imagine you had a cup and it was filled with 300, whatever, call them. Maybe we'll use liquids, let's use milliliters. So that's like a can of pop, okay? 300 milliliters. Let's say you had 15% left after drinking some. So 15% wouldn't be that much. Probably be like this much. So they would say that this would be the 45 milliliters. Okay, just a small percentage of 300. Okay, and then you could double check your answer by going 45 divided by 300. You should get 0.15. So all these questions, you just follow the formula. Put that formula down somewhere so you don't forget. Make the percentage a decimal, then times the total. Make the percentage a decimal times the total. Okay? Things to make note of. If your percent is less than 100, like 45, then your number will be less than the total. So 675 is less than 1500 because you don't have 100%. You have less than 100%, so your number is less than 1500. For part C, 140% of 70, you have more than 100%, so you should have more than 70. 1.4 times 70, 98. And these are all similar. The next question says, what percent is 5 of 20? So now they're asking you to actually find the percentage. So of course you still need a part and you still need a whole. Okay, and then the formula is simply a part divided by the whole, and then you times 100 to move the decimal back the other way. So these ones, they're just working backwards from question 2 and question 1. So 65 out of 325. I wish they didn't use this word of. They should say 65 out of 325, not of, because I told you of means multiply. Okay, so that's a mistake. Anyways, all you gotta do is find the ratio. 65 divided by 325. This one's 0.2. Now we slide the decimal to the right rather than to the left. Okay, so 0.2. Slide the decimal once, slide the decimal twice. Now the decimal's there, so this is 20%. Okay. The other way to do it is just use the formula, which you can write down to remember. So you don't have to worry about sliding decimals. Just figure out the ratio. 135 divided by 405. I'm getting like 0.333. Times that by 100 on a calculator, you get 33.3%. And that's repeating. 68 out of 42. Now the top number is bigger than the bottom number, so you're going to expect a decimal bigger than 1. I'm getting like 1.619. So then times that by 100 and you'll get 161.9%. And the rest of those are pretty similar. Okay, so then why do we learn percents? Well, one of the number one reasons we use percents is for tax. So when you buy something in a store in Canada, you have to always pay GST. And depending on what province you live in, you might have to pay a provincial tax on sales. So the PST, provincial sales tax. And sometimes the government of the province will put the GST in the, so the GST and the PST together, which is called the HST. So they harmonize it, they put it together. Okay, so like in Alberta, you just pay 5% on whatever good, whatever goods you purchase. Now I'll just look up the PST in BC. And it says that the PST is generally 7% in BC. So in BC they say the PST is 7%. In Alberta we have no PST. Okay, so whatever thing you buy, you just have to add on 5%. In BC they have a PST of 7%. They also have the GST like everybody else in Canada of 5%. So if you put those two things together, you get this thing called HST, which would be 12%. You have to add the 7 and the 5 to get your HST, 12%. So that's tax. Tax is the how do you call this? The added cost, basically, that everybody has to pay when you buy something. So this is like a consumer tax or a retail tax. Okay, there's other type of taxes like property tax and income tax, but right now this tax, all we're worried about is the tax on products. So this is like a consumer tax, and I guess the country charges this to do business in the country. The other thing that they're going to talk about in this section is markup, and markup is basically like if you think about a business, in order for them to make money, the products that they sell has to be, the price of those products that they sell has to be higher than the price at which they bought them in order for them to make money. Okay, so the markup is the difference, so it's the subtraction. The difference between the amount the dealer sells a product for and the amount he or she paid for. Okay, so they're calling that the retail price and the wholesale price. So you're looking to subtract those two things. So let me jot that down over here. Markup is equal to the retail price. This is what you sell to customers, the retail price. So it should be bigger than the wholesale price. This is what you bought it for. And that difference is the markup in dollars. So for example, if you sell something for $100 and you bought it for $60, then the markup would be $40. Okay, you upcharge, you mark up the item so that you can make money off it. The money that you make, this markup, the money that you make gets split into various things like profit for yourself, like the bills, like the electricity, the heat of your building, the rent of the building, stuff like that. Also the, what else? Like what you pay your employees, so your salaries, whatever you pay your employees to work for you. So of course you have to mark things up or else you would never have business. Okay, so let's take a look at Builder Skills 4. It says the markup on a bicycle is 125%. And the bicycle's wholesale price is $450. So what is the markup? Okay, so the markup will equal let me just, the markup will be the markup percentage of the wholesale price. So it's like I got this item, I'm going to mark it up 125%. So what does that mean? So you basically need to do 125% of the total, just like we were doing a few pages ago. Change that to a decimal, and then times the total. So the markup is 562.50. Now just for clarification, this is not what you sell the bike for. Okay, the retail price, what you sell it to the person for, would be your cost. So this cost you 450 out of your pocket, plus the money you want to make, and that's what you sell it for. So 1,012.50. Okay, so if you sold this bike for $1,012.50, you'd recoup this cost, 450, so that's back in your pocket. Then you could use this 562 to pay a bunch of bills and take a little bit for yourself. Okay. Similar question. Marco buys shampoo from a supplier for $7.25 per bottle. He sells it to his customers at a markup of 25%. What would the markup be? Make this a decimal. Put the total next to it with times. 1.8125. Remember, this is money. So for money, you don't care about those two decimals. You round it up. Okay? So you look at the 2. It doesn't round it up, so take it off. It's just $1.81. That's the markup. It's not what the person's going to buy it for. What you buy it in the store for would be the original price plus the markup. You'd have to add those together. That's the retail price. So that's what they're asking for in number 6. What's the retail price? So use this. So 0.60 times the wholesale price. 70 bucks. So 70 bucks is the extra money, the markup. Add that back to the wholesale price. $187, 92 cents. There's your retail price. Next one is about what should Max charge. That's also retail price. So just looking for the retail price. He buys them for $9 and wants to make a 75% profit. So same sort of question. You need 75% of 9. So 0.75 times 9. That's 675. So what do you sell it for? The original price plus the markup. So you'd sell it for $15.75 to make 75% profit. Looks like they're doing taxes next. Alright. So with tax, you find the percentage and then you add it on to the original price, just like markup. Okay? To get the retail price, so it's identical. So here's 5% GST and none of it for an item that costs that much. So you need 5% of the price. Make 5% the decimal. So 0.05 times 99.95. I got 4.9975. Remember, this is money, so you look at the third decimal. It rounds it up. 9 rounds the 9, 9 rounds the 4. So this is $5. You pay $5 GST. So the $5 you'd pay for GST plus the price of the jacket. So basically just take the price of the jacket, $99.95, and add $5 to it. So add those together, you get 104.95. So you would end up paying $104.95. Alright, total cost sold for this, where there's PST and GST. So put those together for the HST, the harmonized, 6 and 5 added together, you get 11. So you need 11% of the total. So 0.11 times 944.98. We got 103.95 after rounding. Okay, so add that to your original price and you'll get the total cost. So after rounding, 1,048.93. Make sure you put dollar signs and 2 cents, or pardon me, 2 digits for your cents. Okay, so you need always 2 digits for the cents and a dollar sign when you're doing money questions. Alright, next one's identical. Change to decimal, times by the total. Alright, so this one's giving you the 5% and the 6% for GST and PST respectively. And they ask for how much the GST and the PST are. So you just have to do them separately. So there's the 5% times by your total. There's the 6% times by the total. Get these answers. There's your GST, there's your PST. And after rounding, 229 and 275. Alright, only 2 more to go. Okay, it says if the markup is 125% on a certain brand of jeans that have a wholesale price of 30, what will the consumer pay if GST and PST are each 5%? So we got to find the retail price. So take your markup, make it a decimal, times by the total. So there's the markup. Okay, so just like with taxes, just like markup are the same as taxes, you have to add it back onto the original price. So 30 plus 37.50 is 67.50. This is your retail price. Okay. Now we can do the taxes stuff. It asks what will the consumer pay? So you can harmonize this. 5 plus 5. HST is 10%. So you need 10% of your retail price. Make that a decimal. 10% of 67.50 is 675. You just slide the decimal once. That's how I did that so fast. And then you take your retail price plus the tax, and then you get what the consumer will pay. So 67.50 plus 675, 74 bucks and 25 cents. Next one is about markup. on a meal. The meal costs $7.25. How much will the customer be charged after markup and 5% GST are applied? Okay, so $7.25 is the price of the meal. The markup's $2.50. So make $2.50 your decimal, then times. So the markup is $18.13 after rounding. So of course you always add your markup to the original price. So put $7.25 there and add it up. So $25.38. So this is the price that the consumer would see on the menu, $25.38. And then after GST is applied of 5%, so we got times this by 5%. It's another $1.27. So the price that's on the menu plus the $1.27 for GST, and you would pay a bill of 26.65, and don't forget you still have to tip. So you'd have to tip probably $3 extra. A good rule for tipping at restaurants is slide the decimal once and then round it up a bit. So 266, I would round up to $3. Okay, make sure you do the homework for 1.3. And these are all these percentage skills, like, you'll use throughout your whole life. If you ever have a job that involves numbers, you'll definitely have to work with percents. If you go to restaurants, if you go to grocery store, when you buy stuff as a consumer, you should know how to work with money.